What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. The Blue Jays are going all in now, and this is exactly what we needed to hear. Following yesterday's absolutely heartbreaking decision from Kyle Tucker to join the Los Angeles Dodgers, the Jays have no choice but to pivot. And the name that keeps coming up is Bo Bichette. We've got some massive new reports, including one from Ben Nicholson-Smith that just dropped, revealing crucial information about the Jays' pursuit of Bo. We're going to break down everything, discuss what it means for the team going forward, and talk about some insane details that just emerged about the Kyle Tucker contract that make it even crazier than we thought. Plus, Ken Rosenthal just dropped a report that changes everything. You're going to want to stick around to the very end, because this is huge. Let's dive in. All right. Before we get into all the details, I just want to say thank you. You guys have been absolutely incredible with the support. It truly means the world to me. The Jays missing out on Kyle Tucker absolutely sucked. I've had a few hours now to process it, to collect my thoughts, and you know what? It still sucks. It's horrible. It's arguably bad for baseball depending on how you look at it. But it's time to move on. It's time to pivot. And the Blue Jays have to go all in for the next available star, and that star is Bo Bichette. It seems like a door has now been reopened for the Jays' pursuit of Bo following this record-breaking, well, almost record-breaking contract for Kyle Tucker. So let's talk about what Ben Nicholson-Smith just reported. He dropped an article right after the Tucker signing, and there's some massive information in here. The news came after an anxious wait. We now know that the Jays officially made Kyle Tucker a long-term offer that would have made him the second highest-paid Blue Jay ever. Now, as of the time I'm recording this, the exact details of the Jays' offer haven't been leaked. That might drop later, but regardless, here's the key part. With Bo Bichette and Cody Bellinger still on the market, the question now for the Blue Jays is how hard to push for another bat to further improve a roster that's already been boosted by the additions of Dylan Cease, Tyler Okamoto, Trevor Rogers, and Cody Petit. And here's where it gets really interesting. Ben goes on to say that an agreement with Tucker would have signaled the end of the Blue Jays' relationship with Bichette, the franchise cornerstone since reaching the majors in 2019 who remains in free agency. But, and this is the crucial part, it may reopen a pathway now for his return, even if it's believed that there's a big financial gap with Bichette, who met with the Philadelphia Phillies this week. This is huge. Ben Nicholson-Smith is incredibly well connected. He's tuned into everything happening with the Blue Jays. And for him to come out and say that this may reopen a pathway for Bo's return is massive. Because at this point, the Jays have to go all in. They have to. Whether it's Bo Bichette or maybe Cody Bellinger, which we'll dive into in this video and future videos, they have to make a move. All signs right now are pointing to Bichette being between the Jays and the Phillies. The Phillies have gained a ton of momentum recently. Ken Rosenthal came out and said, "It seems like the Phillies are Bo's #1 option right now." But this is where the Jays, who I'm assuming have been in contact with Bo throughout this entire Kyle Tucker process, can come back in, flex that financial muscle just a little bit more, and get themselves back into serious contention for Bo. And it might take a ton of money. It might take upwards of $300 million. But this is a notable report from Ben Nicholson-Smith, because the alternative is a guy like Cody Bellinger. And I want to talk about that for a second. Josh Goldberg tweeted that he would rather the Jays go into the season as is than give Bellinger a 6 or 7 year deal. He said, "Take a crack at trying to bring Bo back, but it's a no for me, dog, on Bellinger." And I want to get your thoughts on that. Let me know in the comments. Would you rather have Bo Bichette or Cody Bellinger? Personally, I think the Jays need to prioritize Bo. But let's circle back to Bo for a second, because all of my focus, all of every Jays fan's focus has been on Kyle Tucker lately. But I still think there's a very real chance the Jays are going to go all in on Bo Bichette, and they have to. Bo was one of the cornerstones of this franchise for almost a decade if you count his minor league days. Obviously, he wasn't a cornerstone in the minors, but for the past few years, he's been the up-and-coming star alongside Vladimir Guerrero Jr. He's been one of the faces of this organization. He's been in the Jays system for a very long time since getting called up. And he's best friends with Vladimir Guerrero Jr. The Jays have a lot of advantages here. They signed Vladdy. Vladdy said he wants to be a Blue Jay. And I don't think at this point the Toronto Blue Jays are going to sit back and let Bo walk to the Phillies without putting up a serious fight. Yes, the Phillies have good connections with Bo. Yes, Bo is close friends with Don Mattingly, who went to the Phillies as their assistant bench coach or assistant manager or whatever the exact title is. But the Jays aren't going to just give up. You can see here from Johnny, people are talking about how the drawn-out Kyle Tucker process likely damaged any remaining relationship with Bichette and lowered the chances he'll return. But Johnny goes on to say that this did not damage any relationship with Bo Bichette. They kept in touch with him throughout the entire process. He understands the business and what comes with it. Now, this isn't just Johnny reporting speculation. This is common sense. Of course, they've been in contact throughout the entire process. Ross Atkins knew there was a chance they wouldn't get Kyle Tucker. That chance became reality. They've been in contact with Bo Bichette, and he's a really good player. Is he as exciting as Kyle Tucker? No. But he could really fit this team. Now, Tyler Okamoto makes it a bit more difficult to fit everyone in. You're going to have to play Ernie Clement in a super utility role. Maybe you platoon Clement at shortstop against lefties and Andres Gimenez against righties. Who knows what they'll actually do if they bring Bo back? Maybe Bo wants to play short, and then you put Gimenez back at second. Where do you find room for Ernie Clement? Because you have Okamoto who mashes lefties, and so does Clement. But I'm not going to worry about that right now. I'm going to focus on the fact that the Jays need to add another bat to this lineup. It is absolutely crucial. This team needs one more impact player to truly compete. And whether that's Bo Bichette or someone else, they have to make it happen. Now let's talk about Cody Bellinger for a second because he's still on the market and the Jays could pivot to him. The latest report from John Heyman from late last night says the Yankees have offered multiple opt-outs to Cody Bellinger in their 5-year, $155 million offer. They're willing to add more money, but Bellinger has countered and is still standing firm on 7 years. Let me know in the comments, would you be okay with the Jays overpaying a little bit for Cody Bellinger to get him on the team and add that one more bat? I'm actually a pretty big fan of Cody Bellinger. I know a lot of people aren't. I think he would fit this team really well. He's a great defender, like really, really good defensively. And while he's probably not going to be as good as he was last year with the Yankees because of that short porch in right field, I don't hate the option. I would much rather have Bo Bichette. But if Bo goes to the Phillies, the Jays are going to have to pivot quickly. And we're also due for one Ross Atkins trade per offseason. We're at that point now where he hasn't made that big trade yet. So maybe we'll see an Isaiah Kiner-Falefa version 2 trade this offseason. Hopefully a better one than that. But at the end of the day, the Jays have tons of options and tons of pathways to improve their team. They can make a trade. They can get Bo Bichette. They can get Cody Bellinger. They can pursue other guys as well. But they have to figure out something, and they have to figure it out soon. Ken Rosenthal dropped a report recently, and he talked about how at this point, the Jays' luxury tax situation is getting high. He discussed what would have happened if they got Tucker, and he said that signing Tucker would have been a remarkable shift in perception for the Jays. It would have capped a remarkable shift in how people view this organization. And at the end of the day, even without Tucker, he says the Jays should remain a force. Now here's the thing. Ken Rosenthal doesn't believe, according to his reporting, that Bo Bichette is going to come to the Blue Jays. He thinks Bo is going to go to the Phillies. So take that for what you will. That was a report from late last night. But here's the thing. None of the reporters had the Jays or the Dodgers getting Kyle Tucker. None of them really predicted that was going to happen. No one had Alex Bregman going to the Cubs. So the reporters have been a little bit off this offseason. We're just going to have to wait and see for ourselves. But as always, I'll keep you updated every step of the way. And this report from Ben Nicholson-Smith is notable because he didn't throw cold water on everything like he usually does. He didn't say, okay, they're not going to get Bo Bichette, they're pivoting to more minor moves. He said this could reopen a pathway for his return. Now, Ben is employed by Sportsnet, which is owned by Rogers, so there's always that to consider. But still, it's encouraging to hear. Before we wrap up, let me hit you with a few other things. Speaking of big financial paydays, the net present value of Kyle Tucker's deal with the Dodgers is $57 million per season. It's $240 million over 4 years. And I said in my video last night, feel free to check it out after you've watched this one, I said there's going to be a ton of deferrals. But actually, only $30 million total is deferred. Tucker is getting a massive signing bonus. I think it's $64 million. Absolutely ludicrous. And there's an opt-out after year 2. The Dodgers are a super team, but at the end of the day, we move on. So let's talk about what the Jays need to do moving forward. First and foremost, they need to make a serious push for Bo Bichette. I'm talking an offer he can't refuse. Something in the range of 8 years, $250 to $300 million. Give him the security, give him the money, and bring him back home. Bo is a franchise cornerstone. He's beloved by the fan base. He's best friends with Vladdy. And bringing him back would be a massive statement that the Jays are serious about winning. If Bo goes to the Phillies, then the Jays need to immediately pivot to Cody Bellinger, offer him 6 years, $180 million. Give him the term he wants, give him the money, and get it done. Bellinger might not be as exciting as Tucker or Bo, but he's still a really good player who can contribute in multiple ways. He can play outfield, he can play first base, he's a switch hitter, and he's got championship experience. And if the Jays strike out on both Bo and Bellinger, then they need to make a trade. There are impact bats available via trade. Maybe they go after someone like Luis Robert Jr. from the White Sox. Maybe they target a controllable outfielder from a rebuilding team. The point is, they can't just sit back and do nothing. This roster needs one more bat to truly compete in the AL East. The other thing the Jays need to consider is their luxury tax situation. Ken Rosenthal mentioned it, and it's a real concern. The Jays are getting close to the threshold, and if they go over, they're going to face penalties. But here's the thing. If you're going to compete, if you're going to go all in, you can't worry about the luxury tax. The Yankees go over every year. The Dodgers don't care about it. The Mets laugh at the luxury tax. If the Jays want to win, they need to spend like a big market team. And let's be real for a second. The Jays fan base deserves better. They've been patient for years. They've watched this team underperform. They've watched other teams in the division get better, while the Jays tread water. Missing out on Kyle Tucker hurt. But if the Jays don't land Bo Bichette or make another significant move, this offseason is going to be a complete disaster, and the fan base is going to lose faith in this front office. So here's what I think happens. I think the Jays make a serious push for Bo Bichette. I think they offer him something in the range of 8 years, $280 million. I think they sell him on playing alongside Vladdy, on being part of a core that can compete for championships, on being the face of the franchise. And I think there's a real chance they get it done. The Phillies are in on Bo, sure, but the Jays have advantages. They have the existing relationship. They have Vladdy. They have the ability to offer more money if needed. If Bo goes to the Phillies, then I think the Jays pivot to Bellinger and get that deal done within a few days. They can't afford to wait around. Every day that passes is another day that other teams are getting better. The offseason is moving fast, and the Jays need to act. And let's not forget about potential trades. The Jays have a deep farm system. They have prospects they can move. If there's an impact bat available via trade, they should be all over it. Whether it's an outfielder, a first baseman, a designated hitter, whatever it is, they need to explore every option. The bottom line is this: the Jays are at a crossroads. They can either go all in and compete, or they can stand pat and hope for the best. And hoping for the best isn't good enough. This roster has talent. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is a superstar. George Springer still has something left in the tank. The pitching staff is solid with Dylan Cease leading the way. But they need one more impact bat. They need someone who can hit in the middle of the lineup, drive in runs, and help carry the offense. So, Jays fans, I want to hear from you. Do you think the Jays should go all in on Bo Bichette? Would you be okay with them signing Cody Bellinger instead? Or do you think they should make a trade for an impact bat? Let me know in the comments below. And make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell because we're going to have a ton more coverage on this situation as it develops. The off-season is heating up, and we're going to be here every step of the way. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.